I'm the CEO of Rise Gold. We're in Grass Valley at the Centennial Site. We're participating in a cleanup of some homeless encampments. We've had various efforts to clean up the site, and after a couple of months, it's back to the state that it's in that you see here. We've had cleanup efforts over the years and continue to have cleanup efforts that has been left with debris by homeless encampments. But the good news is that we have an application in with the California Department of Toxic Substance Control. Barring any additional opposition from environmental groups, we'll be able to clean up the site.
So we've had a non-stop recurring problem with the transient population coming in and just leaving tons and tons of garbage. And a couple years ago, we brought in a large group and we did a cleanup, and it wasn't more than a few months and it got bad again. So it's a non-stop process, and we toss out 10 and 20 move in. So staying on top of it is a regular basis. And today we were able to get some heavy equipment in that's going to cut some roads for us and make it easier for us hauling it out.
Just for the record, multiple campsites, transient campsites are in here, and this week alone, one campsite we pulled approximately 6,000 pounds of garbage out of just one of the campsites. At this campsite alone, we pulled up hundreds of hypodermic needles, filling about halfway at the bottom of a 5-gallon bucket.
So the way that most of these guys fund their drug habits is theft. We had one camp in particular where the guy had 75 mountain bikes. So that's 75 local kids that were missing their bikes. And this guy was doing a mountain bike chop shop where he would combine parts and make it to where he was able to sell them. And we tried to find the owners of the ones that we could, and the rest we donated to the Seven Hills School Bike Program so that they could make sure that they found a good home.
And as far as other ways that these people fund their habits, this week alone we found a social security card and matching birth certificate, as well as a passport and personal information that was left probably for them to come back at a later time and open fraudulent credit cards, and
who knows what else.
Who knows what else, yeah. I mean, we've always had a transient population, but just in the last 2 years, I've seen it go to a point where we have hundreds more, and when you see them and you talk to them, they're not from here. They're coming from like Santa Clara County, which is where the one ID was. They're coming from San Joaquin, they're coming from LA. I watched a bus unload at Wendy's because there's a homeless shelter at the top of the hill over there. And there was approximately 30 people that were taken out of, let go from the bus. And after they've been here for a certain period of time, they're now Nevada County residents, so they can go up to our social services and they'll offer them a hotel for 3 days. They offer them stuff to get on their feet, but they're actually professional transients. They're not trying to get a hand up, they're trying to get a hand out. And that's the problem we have. And they're stealing from every business everywhere. They walk in and they fill their shopping carts and leave. Our local Rite Aid was, all their employees were told not to pursue, not to chase, not to, if someone comes in and they load a cart, you let them go. So, and it ends up here. So that's our biggest problem, I think.
So both sides of this creek had camps up and down both sides, and they come down from the road right there. It's quick and easy access to town. And when we get a high water or rain, all the trash and garbage would flow into this creek. This is Wolf Creek, and it would end its way down in people's drinking water. So this was our first priority. We wanted to get it done before that last storm. So we got it pretty spotless as far as homeless camps go, and we got every piece of trash we could. And there was 8 or 10 camps just right here along the water line. So it was quite the task getting it all cleaned up.
So this part of the property, of the Centennial property, has been cleared, and looks pretty nice, and the sun's out, and we're excited to be working on the property and hope to be able to continue to move forward with our project.
When we're picking this stuff up, you got to really pay attention to what you're grabbing too, because you can see there's needles and uncapped needles all over these campsites, and nobody wants to take a needle on their finger, because who knows what these guys have disease-wise.
So this was a fentanyl test strip. They hand these out, I believe, at some of the county areas so that they can test their drugs to make sure that they don't have fentanyl in them, or to make sure they do have fentanyl in them, either way.
So this particular hut we've torn down several times, and you can see there's metal roofing and stuff that used to be on it. And we tear it down and they just rebuild it as fast as we can tear it down.
So we've been working this project for a couple weeks really hard lately, and Monday alone we found almost half a 5-gallon bucket full of needles. The needles, the people use them, they discard them just everywhere throughout this property, and you pick up a half a 5-gallon bucket, you can come back a week later and get another half a 5-gallon bucket. I just like being able to walk around out here. I do love the property. I just don't like the fact that it's been soiled so heavily. You just never know what you're gonna find around here. So this last week when we cleaned up the creek that we showed you earlier, this is what the creek looked like. It was very similar. There was garbage all up and down the creek. And it really doesn't hit you until you're physically out here and you can see the mass amounts of garbage that's here. You can watch it on video, you can be told about it, I've told friends about it, but until you're here in it and seeing it, you just have no idea of how much there really is to deal with.
This is the Idaho-Maryland road behind me and Centennial Drive.